The screen is visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the topic of my lecture is components of effective teaching. I think most of you or all of you must be assistant professor in the field of teaching. I don't know how many of you are from education background or you are from different streams. Both, if you are from an education background, then things will be some common to you. But for other background, it will be really very interesting to you. So, starting from the concept of effective teaching, we know that in educational process, teachers play very pivotal role. Just a minute. Shift this. So teachers play very predominant role in the whole educational process and in the upliftment of society. So students' upliftment can be brought only in educational setting if the teacher is dedicated and if the teacher is effective. So we know that the today's society is very competitive and it demands a lot of things, a lot of knowledge, information, understanding, skills from our students. So if we want our students to be academically vibrant and to meet the demand of existing competitive society, we must deliver, we must play our role of teacher very effectively, and we must be equipped with the various competencies of effective teaching. So if the teacher is effective, if the teaching of teacher is effective, only then the growing demands of learning community can be satisfied. So according to Ryans, he was an educationist. So teaching is effective to that extent that the teacher acts in the way that are favorable to the development of certain basic skills, understanding, work habits, desirable attitude, value judgment, and adequate personal adjustment of pupils. So this definition, if we analyze this definition, so we can see that we demand from our students certain desirable attitude. We demand certain value judgment. After completing any course, any field, the student must develop certain basic skills, certain basic habits, important working habits, certain desirable attitude and value judgment. And he must also be able to adjust adequately in the society. So this all could be brought about through effective teaching. So if our teaching is effective, it means it will inculcate favorable or develop favorable skills, attitudes, work habits, and value judgment, along with the adjustment capacity in our students, pupil, or in our student. So we can correlate our teaching effectiveness with the development of these skills, habits, attitudes, adjustment characteristics, and value judgment. If these are inculcated in our learner through our teaching, then we can say that our teaching is effective. So I have organized my whole lecture under this 6 areas. These are the components of effective teaching. It is a very comprehensive concept, but I have tried to organize it under 6 components. So first component of effective teaching is organization of content. Second is implementing instruction in classroom. Third is knowledge of teaching skills. Then personality related aspects of teacher, classroom management, and knowledge of phases of teaching. So I have divided my lecture under these components, which are important for being a good teacher, or for which are the components of effective teaching. This is the whole organization of PowerPoint presentation. So coming to the first component of effective teaching, this is organization of content. So we, as a teacher, we provide content in the classroom related to certain subject. So if
Ma'am, slide is not moving.
Slide is not visible.
Slide is not moving. Still we are in the first slide.
Okay, okay.
Slide number 2.
This is first slide. Second slide is visible.
This is second slide, ma'am. We have to come to the third slide.
Yes, this was the third slide. Now fourth. Right now I am at the fourth slide, which is organization of content. Is it visible?
No, ma'am, it's not visible. Only the second slide, concept of effective classroom teaching, that one is visible.
Okay, I'm again sharing. Is it visible now? Is it moving?
No, ma'am.
No,
In my system, it is.
No, it is moving. Rose Kutti. Rose Kutti ಕಾಣು.
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ very bad.
I think this should now be visible. Is it visible? Third slide is this, where
Yes, now it is visible, ma'am.
Okay. So I have organized the components of effective teaching under these 6 broad headings. The first heading is organization of content. So as a teacher, we provide information in the classroom, which is known as content. So any information which is related with the subject, when it is presented in written form and in a systematic and sequential manner, then it is known as content. So as a teacher, we provide content in our classroom for our students. And this content is definitely related with the subject matter or area which we are going to teach. So while preparation of or organization of content, we must take into consideration certain point, because this is the basic information or content which is related to subject matter, which is prescribed in their curriculum or syllabus, which we have to present in the classroom. So until unless a teacher is expert in organizing the content, that is information to be presented, only then their teaching will be effective. If you are efficient in organizing the content, then definitely your teaching is going to be effective. So while organizing the content, we must take into consideration certain points. So first of all, the information which we are going to present, that should be logically organized. And it should be organized in a particular logical sequence. So when you are able to prepare or present your content in a logical sequence in a proper order, that is, first you have to give an overall concept, then you have to arrange topics and subtopics in a systematic manner or in order, so that students are able to understand. So whatever topic you are going to present in the class, first of all, you have to logically organize the sequence of content. So in which manner, what you will be present, how will you introduce, then what will be your next content. So you have to organize. Sometimes we blindly follow bookish organization, but the demand of our students may be some different. So depending upon the capability or potentiality of the learner, you have to logically organize the sequence of content to be presented before learner, and this should be done beforehand. Then a teacher must have appropriate vocabulary. So you should be expert in use of appropriate vocabulary. So you should be able to explain the content using variety of simple, understandable words and phrases. You must have a repertoire of synonyms, antonyms, phrases, and all. So it will help to understand the students whatever you are going to explain. So a teacher must have appropriate vocabulary. Sometimes you are explaining using a certain example or a certain word, the student is not able. Then you use some another synonym for that particular word. So you must have appropriate vocabulary related to the content, and you must be expert in using it. Then third element in organization of content is explanation of technical terms. So certain subjects require more technical terms and certain subjects require less, but still there are certain technical terms in each and every topic. So as a teacher, you know what students are knowing or not. With this term will be easier for them to understand, and this will require more explanation. With your experience, you know that certain terms are difficult for learner and certain terms are simple and easier. So depending upon the learner's requirement, you must have skill of explaining the technical terms. So your difficult word should be properly defined, properly explained. So different definition, different terms, different contents may be explained in a simple way. So a teacher is effective in classroom, his teaching effective if you have capability to simplify the difficult words and terminology before the learner for their better understanding. And then third is processing of information. So we gather information from books, from internet, from so many sources. You are going to teach next day, and before that you select content from different sources. It doesn't mean that you simply, whatever you have got from internet or book, you should simply explain them or present them in the same manner. A good teacher processes the information according to the need of the learner. He structures the information so that students are able to understand. So he structures the information from different sources, organize them, manipulate them according to the requirement of the student. Whatever the information you have got over that topic which you are going to teach, you first of all, a good teacher processes that information, he structures those information, then he organizes and manipulates the information according to the requirement of the student. So a teacher must be well versed in processing the information according to requirement of the learner. The selection of approach. So as a teacher, we decide that what kind of approach is required for teaching a particular topic. Some topics may be explained by inductive method approach, some may be explained by deductive method. So whenever we are going to explain a theory or principle, we use inductive approach, and when we are while use of inductive approach, it is taken where with the help of examples we run from, we arrive at theory. So whether we have to proceed from example to the theory or from theory to the example, from general to particular or from particular to general, that is inductive and deductive approach. So in which case we have to select deductive approach, in which case we have to select inductive approach, or sometimes we move from inductive to deductive, then inductive in research method, specifically in research. So as a teacher, we must be expert in selecting the approach which will be suitable to the learner as well as which will be suitable to the topic. Then preparation of unit plan or lesson plan. As a B.Ed student, most of you must be knowing that teacher prepares first unit plan, then he divides this unit plan into various lesson plans. This is pre-preparation before entering into the class. So we should not enter the classroom without planning. We first should plan that in how many lectures we are able to finish a particular unit, and a particular unit will require how many lesson plans and how the things will be executed in the classroom. A teacher first prepares unit plan and lesson plan. So we organize our content into various unit plans and lesson plans. This much is clear? So I'm moving to the second part, implementing instruction in the classroom. Is the slide visible to all of you? Implementing instructions in classrooms.
Yes, ma'am.
Ghazala? Okay, shall I move?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
So there are certain guidelines which are followed by teachers for effective teaching. These are also known as maxims of teaching. So by applying these maxims, we can make our classroom teaching effective. So while teaching, we should move from known to unknown. So these are the guidelines. Like first, whenever we are going to teach a particular topic, some new topic, we should start the lecture from previous knowledge and then relate it to the new one. We should not start abruptly, new topic. Rather, we should relate the new knowledge with previous knowledge. So this previous knowledge is whatever is known to the learner. Then with the help of whatever known to the learner, we move to the unknown, that is new one. So it develops necessary thoughts and relationship. So as a teacher, we must know, move in the classroom from known to unknown. That is from whatever learner knows, that is their previous knowledge, and we should relate their previous knowledge with the new one. So new content should be executed while relating it with the past. जैसे आप क्लास में पढ़ाने जाते हो, आप बताते हैं ना, ये फर्स्ट ईयर में आपने ये पढ़ा था, अब सेकेंड ईयर में इससे ये this is related with that particular topic. We are extending this. Then simple to complex. Second maximum of teaching is simple to complex. So while our teaching will be effective when we are going to explain first simple concept, then we gradually move toward difficult ones. If you see the classroom textbook or books, you'll see that lessons are arranged in simple to complex. First we teach plus, then minus, then multiplication, then division. Suppose if you are going to teach, you are teaching multiplication without explaining minus and plus, the students will not be able to understand. So as a teacher, you know which concepts are simple and which concepts are complex. So first you give idea of a simple concept, then we move towards difficult one. The simple concept should be taught first, then gradually a student get understanding, then we should move toward complex concept. Then we should, another guideline which we should follow is from whole to part. Whole to part means first giving ideas of the whole content, then dividing it into subtopics, so that they have clear concept. Like I started my PowerPoint presentation with concept of effective teaching with the help of definition. Then I made second slide which showed that the whole component, the whole lecture will be divided under 6 components of effective teaching. And I named those components one by one in second slide. And in further slides, I am going to explain these components so that you have idea that in what way we are moving. So first I have given the whole idea of my PowerPoint. Then I am proceeding to the parts so that you can relate. कि अब हम यहाँ तक पहुंचे, अब इसके आगे इतना बाकी है. So this gives a better understanding. So first we should give clear whole picture of the content. Then we should gradually proceed to the part. Then concrete to abstract. So we should first give examples related to a student's daily life, which are concrete examples near around the student. Then with the help of those concrete examples, we should move towards abstract concept. Like we are going to teach different shapes. So triangle, quadrilateral, parallelogram, these are abstract concepts. So it is better first to show them concrete objects of different shapes. Then we move to the abstract concept. So it will make your teaching interesting and effective. Then we can move from particular to the general. So first we should, in certain cases, we give certain examples, and then we later on with the help of examples, we generalize. Like we are going to teach the concept of noun. First we frame so many sentences according to definition. Like noun is the name of person, things, all that. Those few examples related to name of person, name of places, name of things, all that. And we write them in bolder font. Then we can generalize those in the form of definition, so that students themselves come at generalization or definition or theory. So in this way, they will learn the concept and they will remember it for larger period. So we can move from particular to general in teaching certain mathematical concept, certain grammatical concept, and we can also move from general to particular. Then analysis to synthesis. First, we should present the things in their breakups, like you are explaining the formula of a salt in chemistry. Then from you analyze of a formula of that salt into different components, then you synthesize those components which make a particular formula. So analysis to synthesis. Then empirical to irrational. So we should make a child learn to observe or experience from the very beginning, and later on we should discuss the result. First we should give empirical aspect, then we give them a rational aspect. Then from actual to representative, means as far as possible we should present the things or actual objects. We should explain the concept with the help of actual objects or real objects in the classroom. Then with the help of actual and real object, we should move to representative one. If representative one is not available, if the actual object is not available, then only then we should be moved towards representative. Like suppose we are going to teach a particular parts of flower. So we should try to bring that actual object in the classroom. That will be more helpful in understanding the parts of that particular flower. If that flower is not available, only then we can use the representative one. So as far as possible, we should use actual or real things, real models, real things to explain the concept. And if they are not available, then we should move to representative one. Then third component of teaching skill Third component of effective teaching is knowledge of teaching skills. Slide is moving. This C part is clear to visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, as a educationist and psychologist, have developed or identified a number of teaching skills. Using these teaching skills, we can make our teaching effective. Because teaching is both arts as well as science. We can some are born teachers, but very few of us. We can be an effective teacher by practice also. If you are not born teacher, then we could be good teacher or effective teacher by practicing these teaching skills. So as a teacher, we must have knowledge of teaching skills, and we should practice the teaching skills in our daily classroom practices, which will improve your classroom competencies and will make your teaching effective. So these a number of skills were given by Mr. B.K. Pasi, a well-known educationist. Mr. B.K. Pasi, he has identified a number of skills. So first among those skills is writing instructional objectives. So we know that teaching is an goal-oriented process. We have certain objectives, like within 50 minutes of a lecture, we will have to teach these points. We already know that this is our curriculum, and I have allotted this particular time, and within 50 minutes or 55 minutes or 60 minutes of lecture, we have to execute or these objectives. So for this, we must be able to identify the objectives of our classroom, and we should be able to write those instructional objectives. So this should be done beforehand, that a teacher must write instructional objective of that particular topic. Like you are going to teach photosynthesis, so you must write instructional objective beforehand, that after completing the photosynthesis topic, students will be able to define photosynthesis. Students will be able to write raw material involved in the process of photosynthesis. Students will be able to explain the process of photosynthesis. Students will be able to draw the necessary diagrams. So as a teacher, you write your instructional objective, which you have to achieve through a particular content. So according to your objective, you will select the content. So first step is writing instructional objective beforehand. As a good teacher writes instructional objectives, and objective wise he selects the content, organizes the content, and then executes that info content in the classroom through his teaching, utilizing appropriate teaching aid and method. So objectives plays very important role in teaching. So first of all, a teacher must be skilled in writing instructional objectives, because they form the basis of teaching. Only on the basis of your objectives, you are able to select the content, organize the content, select the method according to the content and capabilities of learner, and you are able to select the various teaching aids required for executing those information related to instructional objective. You'll observe that in your syllabus also, at the top, objectives are there written in a block. In NCERT books, objectives are written in a block in each and every in each and every lessons before the content starts. So teacher is acquainted, a teacher knows that these are the objectives which we have to deliver and to make students achieve during his teaching learning process. So a teacher must be skilled in writing instructional objective. Then in skill of introducing a lesson, a teacher must be skilled in introducing a lesson. We should not abruptly start a lesson in the classroom, that a teacher entered in the class and took chalk and started teaching at the blackboard or started lecturing. So it does not make good impression over the student. We should introduce a lesson in an interesting manner. We can introduce a lesson with the help of a question, with the help of a story, with the help of any event, whatever method suits to that particular topic. And we should introduce a lesson by sometimes relating their past experiences, past knowledge or previous knowledge with new knowledge. So relating your past students' previous knowledge with new knowledge also, you can introduce a lesson. So in a variety of ways, you can make your teaching interesting. If your introduction is good, then definitely students will be motivated to learn that topic. Then an effective teacher is fluent in questioning, because a teacher teaches in a flow. He doesn't know whether the students are getting the point or not. Only questions are the way which ascertains that the students are understanding in a speed, in a way which you are teaching. So in between, after giving a small content, you should ask question to ascertain the students are moving at a right track. Then give information, little bit of information, then ask question to evaluate them whether they are understanding or not. So accordingly, you can change your speed, intonation, language, content, all that. So if you are after 50 minutes of class, you are asking question, a student are not answering, so then there is no way out. So after giving a bit of information, you ask question. Then move to the second bit of information, then ask small questions, and this question should be evenly distributed among the learner. So teacher must be fluent in asking question. Then probing question. Student and the teacher must be helping the students in arriving at correct answer. Sometimes students hesitate. They even know the correct answer, but still they hesitate. So you probe them. You give them certain cues so that they are able to respond in future also. Then a teacher must be well skilled in explanation. In languages, you see, in Hindi literature, in English literature, it requires lots of explanation. Similarly, certain difficult concepts, certain difficult terminology, they requires explanation, for which you must have proper vocabulary, words, synonyms, phrases, etc., which will help you, your students to understand the concept. So the teacher should be skilled in explaining the difficult terms, concept, terminology, etc. Then illustrating with example. So you may be, as a student, you may be comparing different teachers. One teacher is a very good teacher because he gives very lively example, very easy example, which are up to the level of student. So which example will suit to the student? So you should be able to explain the terms with the help of suitable examples, which suits to the requirement of the learner. So good examples, suitable examples makes the concept clear. Then stimulus variations. Means there should be certain changes, variations in the teaching learning. Teaching learning should not be monotonous. It should be, there should be variation. Like sometimes you are explaining, you are writing over the blackboard, you are moving in the classroom, you are asking question. So different types of stimulus you are giving. Verbal stimulus you are giving, pictorial stimulus you are giving, writing stimulus you are giving. So it breaks the monotony of the classroom. So you should try to bring variations in the classroom teaching. It will make your teaching more interesting. And if you have made your teaching interesting, definitely their learning will be good, and you will be an effective teacher. The skill of silence and non-verbal cues. Skill of silence sometimes your pause is also required. A bit of silence. You are going to start a difficult concept. So you pause for a bit. So students' attention immediately will grab student attention and you'll say that now listen carefully. This is very important concept. So after very fast lecture, sometimes you are explaining things in a very fast way, and then you're going to switch to the another topic. So stop, give a pause, then start, fresh start. So it will grab student attention. And sometimes you should give verbal clues, and sometimes you should also give non-verbal cues. Your face expression, your gesture gives students that a lot of understanding. So verbally and non-verbally, you can teach certain concept with certain non-verbal clues also. Then skill of reinforcement. So regarding questioning, you ask question and student gave answer. They may not be right perfectly, but you say that, oh, no, you are, you should not say like that, no, your answer is totally wrong. Rather, you should say, yes, you are partially right. Your answer up to this mark is correct, and this much needs improvement. Or if he is the perfectly right, he has given perfectly correct response, student have given the perfectly correct response, then you should say certain reinforcing words. Good, very good. Keep it up. Very nice answer. So as a teacher, we must reinforce our students for their correct responses. And even if their responses are not correct, then also we should not snub them. Rather, we should ask them to stand up, and you may ask from other students to give answer. Then you may ask him or her to repeat the answer, but you should not snub them. So reinforcement brings a lot of behavioral change among learners, and they become more motivated to give response in the classroom. So when they give response, the teaching becomes two-way communication, and then it becomes effective teaching. Then increasing pupil participation. Mostly in higher classes, only the whole teaching is teacher-centered. The students' participation is very little bit or nil sometimes. So as far as possible, we should try to increase pupil participation, and this could be done mostly by asking questions. So if students are involved in teaching, then they feel important and they concentrate over the content, they concentrate over the teaching, and it makes their understanding better and your teaching effective. Then skill of using Blackboard. A good teacher should be well equipped in using Blackboard, because this is the teaching aid which is always available in the classroom. How to use Blackboard? So because only lecturing makes teaching monotonous, and sometimes difficult words are not understood by the student. So you write important points over the Blackboard, you write important terms over the Blackboard, you write important names of authors and persons over Blackboard, so they understand it in a clear manner. So teacher must be well versed in using Blackboard. So after teaching, if you write important points over there, during teaching you write important points over the Blackboard, then it will help a student a lot in their learning, and it will make your teaching interesting. Then skill of achieving closure. So as far as we studied that introducing a lesson is important, in the same way, achieving closure is also very important. A student understands that now the teacher is going to finish the lecture. So your gesture, your expressions, your intonation indicates that the topic is going to over. You are going to finish the lecture. So while achieving the closure, you should recapitulate that in today's lecture, we have studied these points, and now this is to be taught in next lecture. So that student get prepared for the next time. So I have written only few skills. There are many more. You can search over internet. Skills given by Professor B.K. Pasi. So by practicing these skills, you can make your teaching effective. Then personality related aspects of teacher. There are certain qualities of an effective teachers. So as a teacher, you must inculcate those qualities among you. So among these qualities, first is fairness. A teacher should not be partial. A teacher should be fair to all of his students. If a teacher is partial, the student do not take interest in the lesson. You may be so much learned, your content, your organization, your teaching aid may be very good, but if you are partial, student, you are not fair to the student, they will not take interest in the lesson. So you have to bring about fairness in your behavior. Then positive attitude. A teacher must have positive attitude towards teaching. So you have selected teaching as your profession, so you must have positive attitude. You should not say in the classroom that I could not be an engineer or doctor or IS. So lastly, I did B.Ed, M.Ed and PhD and I came into this profession. You have selected this profession, so you should develop positive attitude or passion towards teaching. So if a teacher is passionate, if a teacher has positive attitude toward teaching, then definitely the students will have positive, the student will definitely have positive attitude towards learning. Your positive attitude will inculcate positive attitude among learner also. Then preparedness. We should come prepared to the classroom. We may be experienced of 20-25 years, but whenever we enter the classroom, before entering the classroom, we must have a rough idea of what we are going to teach and how we will teach or organize the lecture. So for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, we should go through the content which we are going to execute in the classroom. We should not go to the classroom unprepared. A teacher must be well prepared before facing the students. Then personal touch. So though teaching is a profession, but this is very pious profession. A teacher is like a parent to the student. So a teacher must have personal touch with the students. If your class is of a small strength, 20 to 25, 30, so you may remember the names of so many students. So if a student is absent for certain times, he is very good student, so it should affect you. You should, whenever she comes or he comes, you should ask, what was the problem? Why you have not appeared in the examination? Why you are absent for the long time? So it gives respect to the teacher, and students think that teacher is concerned with him or her. So it will develop positive attitude and motivation towards learning. That teacher knows him. If you call a student by his name, he feels very good before his friends. So you cannot remember student names of all students, but in some or other way, you can show your personal touch, your concern to your students. Then sense of humor. Some subjects are very tough, difficult, dry and boring. And you have to be very serious in explaining those terms. But this makes the classroom environment heavy. So after teaching few minutes, you should behave or do certain action which brings the students in light mood. A sort of smile should be there over your face. You should be expert in presenting your content with certain level of humor. Then creativity. So a teacher must be creative in organizing the lecture, in preparing the teaching aids. So sometimes you can bring creativity in your lecture in certain ways. Then a teacher must be willing to admit his or her mistakes. Teacher is not encyclopedia. Teacher may commit in mistakes knowingly or mostly unknowingly. So if a student points out mistakes, so you should admit, because these days students are also very much aware. They come prepared in the classroom. So by chance, if you have committed any mistakes while writing, while explaining, then you should be very honestly, you should admit your mistake. This will raise your respect in the eyes of learner. Then commitment to learn. So teacher should always learn. You have selected this profession, then you should keep on reading material related to your area. You should update your subject matter, your area in which you are teaching. So you should be committed to learning, because knowledge gets obsolete very easy in a very small time. The expansion of knowledge is at such a fast speed that whatever we have learned at class 6, the students are learning at class 1 and 2. Whatever we have learned at class 10, today's students are learning at class 6. So we should always be updating our knowledge and we should be committed to learning. Once a teacher, always a teacher, not. ऐसा नहीं कि आपको एक कोर्स मिल गया तो हर साल आप वही पढ़ा रहे हैं. We should update our knowledge. Then emotional maturity. Because students are sometimes, when you are teaching secondary or senior secondary students, they are adolescent. And when you are teaching graduate students, they are also young. So you have to deal with them with mature behavior. So there will be a variety of individual differences in your learners. Some may be well balanced, maybe having well balanced personality. Some may be very short tempered. Some may be very indisciplined. Some may be very sensitive. So we should deal your students with emotional maturity. Psychologists have given importance of EQ, emotional quotient. IQ is important. In the same way, EQ is important. Emotional quotient or emotional maturity is very important. Sometimes emotional quotient is more important than IQ. You may be of average intelligence, but you can handle the learners in a mature manner, then you may be more effective teacher. You may be very intelligent, topper, world medalist, but you are unable to deal with the emotions of students, then you may not be a good teacher. So you should deal with the emotional maturity. The leadership and responsibility. A teacher is the torchbearer of the class. A teacher is a leader in the classroom. And he should take the responsibility of leading the student in right direction. So these are the personality characteristics required for an effective teaching. Because this is very biased job and your personality should be exemplary to your learner, because learner unknowingly copy to their teachers. So we should behave in a very cautious manner, because we are handling with the human power. Then classroom management technique. So the teacher must be skilled or good in managing the classroom. So he should control the class or direct the behaviors of the learner in a desired way. So he should manage the classroom in an effective manner. He should make learners' participation frequent. He should develop a student. He should make our student active, and he should manage the classroom environment in such a way that it is conducive to the teaching learning process. So there are various methods of classroom management. A teacher should be knowing the various methods of management. There are democratic way, there are laissez-faire way, there are autocratic way, but mostly we follow democratic way while managing the classroom environment. So if you are able to handle the classroom environment in a better way, in a conducive way, definitely your classroom teaching will be effective. Then classroom teaching is done in 3 phases. So one of the important component of effective teaching is the knowledge of phases of teaching. How to divide our whole teaching process into different phases. So the phases of teaching comes under basic teaching model given by Glaser. These are the steps of phases as given by basic teaching learning model developed by Glaser. Glaser ने ये 3 stages बताए हैं for effective teaching. The first phase of teaching, which is known as pre-active stage. Pre-active, pre means before. So you in this stage you plan teaching before entering into the classroom. Whatever preparation you do, that come under pre-active stage. You have not entered into the classroom. Tomorrow you have class at 8 a.m. and you are preparing for the classroom. So whatever you will do, whatever that will come under pre-active phase or stage. So at this stage, teacher plans teaching for whatever objectives are there, which has to be intended in the classroom through the content selected. So teacher plans teaching for providing knowledge to the students and try to achieve the intended goal. So before entering the classroom, for achieving the intended goal, whatever planning teacher does, that comes under pre-active phase. Therefore, this phase is also known as planning stage. So he organizes his teaching. For this, he consults related literatures, books, etc., and makes his concept clear. So this is also known as conceptualizing stage or planning stage. So whatever a teacher plans before entering the classroom, that comes under pre-active phase of teaching. So what should we do in pre-active phase? First thing is that we should formulate the goals, the intended goal to be achieved in the classroom next day or in the next class. So first of all, teacher must write, जैसा कि मैंने पहले ही बताया था, you must be skilled in writing educational objectives. Goals are long term and objectives are short terms. So teacher should be able to formulate the goals and should able to write those goals in the form of objectives in behavioral terms. कल की क्लास में ये definition बताना है, ये रिएक्शन बताना है, ये इक्वेशन बताना है, ये डायग्राम बताना है, ये प्रोसेस एक्सप्लेन करना है, all that. So he must be able to formulate goals. So before entering into the class, first of all, teacher write down the goals of the topic to be achieved. Then according to goals or objective, the teacher selects content. कि कल हमें ये पढ़ाना है, तो इसका content हमें कहाँ मिलेगा. So first he decides or formulates the objectives or goals. Then he selects the content. अब classroom जाके तो content select करेंगे नहीं, पहले ही करेंगे, pre-active phase नहीं करेंगे. So teacher first of all in pre-active phase formulates the objective, write down the objective in behavioral terms. For each and accomplishment of each and every objectives, he selects the content, organize the content by following the maxims of learning जो हमने अभी पहले पढ़े थे, from simple to complex in a logical sequence, content and arranged, then from general to particular to general, inductive to deductive, all that जो भी maxims अभी हमने discuss किए थे, according that he selects the content objective wise and organizes those content following those principles. Then he selects the styles and strategies of teaching. Which style of teaching he will be going to use while executing while achieving the intended objective. So strategies are designed by teacher himself or herself. Book में कोई चीज पहले कोई चीज बाद में दी जा सकती है, but teacher find out himself or decides that this should be explained first, this should be explained afterward. This should be order of content. So he, according to his own potentiality and according to level of learner, potentialities and abilities of learner, age group of learner, and knowledge of learner, he selects the teaching styles and teaching strategies. Certain topics may be taught through lecture method, certain through demonstration method, certain through laboratory method, certain through lecture come demonstration method. There are variety of styles and strategies of teaching, and depending upon the demand of topic, depending upon the age, ability, potentiality of the learner, and depending upon his own expertise, he decides the styles and strategies of teaching. ये कल जो हमें पढ़ाना है, इसके लिए ये demonstration करना होगा, ये model के जरिए पढ़ाना है, ये diagram draw करके पढ़ाना है. So he decides beforehand. So these steps are followed before entering in the classroom by the teacher. The second stage is interactive stage. So whatever teacher does while after entering the classroom, that comes under interactive stage. The slide is visible. So this stage includes all
Yes,
those
ma'am.
behaviors. Thank you. So this stage includes all those behaviors, all those activities done by the teachers after entering in the classroom. जो भी planning उसने की थी, अब उसको execute कर रहा है classroom में. So whatever behavior activities he does in the classroom after entering the classroom, that comes under interactive stage of teaching. So at this stage, he delivers the content before the learner. So while using skills, जो भी हमने skills पढ़े, by using those teaching skills, skills of introduction, skills of explanation, skill of probing question, skill of explanation with example, he delivers his content using those skills. So class में enter करते ही, first he introduces the lesson by relating it with previous knowledge of the learner. Then he gives new information, explain with suitable example. Then he asks question, evaluates whether the learner are getting the point or not. Then he moves. Then he draws diagram. He explains it with various teaching aid, whatever method or are required, he uses as per his plan and moves on step by step and delivers the content. So whatever planning he has done, whatever lesson plan he has prepared during pre-active stage, the teacher implements that in the classroom. So this planning at the first step or stage or phase helps a lot teacher in implementing. अगर आपकी पहले से ही प्लानिंग है कि ऐसे ऐसे आगे बढ़ना है, ये एग्जांपल देना है, ये कंटेंट देना है, ये वाला डेफिनेशन आसान होगा, ये बताना, ये नहीं बताना है, in this way I have to move, so it will make your teaching easier and effective. It will help you as well. Not only teacher will be benefited by this, but as a teacher you will also be benefited if you have previously planned methods, examples, content, logical sequences. Even you frame questions also beforehand at the planning stage. इस तरीके के सवाल पूछे जाएंगे. So while for delivering the planned content, teacher uses a variety of approaches and he try to achieve the intended objective. So at this stage, what things he has to take into care. So when you enter in the classroom, as a teacher, we first put a glance over the classroom. पहली बार आप किसी क्लास में पढ़ाने जा रहे हैं, students are not known to you, then you should put a glance at the student sitting in the classroom. This is known as sizing up the class. You try to have a general idea of your students. And if you already know the students, you can identify the sitting arrangement, where good students are sitting, where the weak students are sitting, classroom size is appropriate or not, what are the physical planning of the class, movement किधर से करनी है. So you should have a general idea of the classroom, which will help you a lot in executing your plan. So after the sensation of class size, teacher tries to determine the level of students, their previous knowledge, their capabilities, their attitude, their hobbies, etc. So that you can execute the content. So while asking question, you understand their previous knowledge. आपने छोटे छोटे सवाल पूछे, आपको कहा अरे इतना भी नहीं आता बच्चे को, तो you changed your strategy. So you started from very basic. और आपने 4-6 सवाल पूछे और बच्चों ने सारे के जवाब दे दिए. It means students are good enough. Then the standard of teaching will be a bit higher. So a teacher diagnoses the learner's capability, their knowledge, their attitude, and accordingly gear up the classroom teaching activity. First day थोड़ा सा आपको पता नहीं होता है, second day आपको अंदाजा लग जाता है कि आपके student इस level के हैं, and this helps you in planning your classroom teaching. So ये कब होगा? When you are interacting with the learner. It is not solely lecture method. You are interacting, it is a two-way communication. You are explaining, you are asking question, you are involving a student. Only then you will be able to diagnose the learner, and this will help in improving or making important changes in your teaching strategy. So teacher uses a variety of teaching strategy according to the students' knowledge, their age, the requirement of the topic, and all that. So at interactive stage, you introduce the lesson, you have a glance over the students, you identify their seating arrangement, you know this is the weaker student, I should have much attention over these students, these are notorious students, these are good students, and these are the basic knowledge of students. So you execute your plan according to the demand of the topic and demand of the learner. And at the post-active, third is the post-active stage. So post-active stage starts once you finish your content. Suppose 50 minutes की class है, you should finish your content 5 minutes before, so that you can evaluate overall understanding of the learner. So at this stage, after teaching has been finished, the teacher evaluates up to what extent educational objectives have been achieved by the learner. Because you started at the pre-active phase, at the first stage, you started with educational objectives. कि आज हमारी ये 10 objectives हैं जो achieve होने चाहिए. अब आपने पढ़ा लिया. Now, after your teaching is finished, you try to evaluate up to what you try to know up to what extent educational objectives have been achieved. So for this, you use various evaluation methods. So here also, we try to know the exact dimension of behavioral change. ये जो आपने objectives बनाए थे वो behavioral term में बनाए थे कि after completing this lesson, students will be able to define this, students will be able to give example of this, students will be able to compare this, students will be able to tell silent features of this. ये सब आपने objective में ही लिख लिया था कि ये behavioral change student में होंगे. So at post-active stage, you will evaluate the students over those dimensions of behavioral change. So if those desired behavioral changes have been accomplished by the learner, it means your teaching is effective. So for this, you select appropriate device and techniques for evaluation. You can ask short answer question, you can call explanation, you can give certain MCQs or fill the blanks, ask learner to come and write over the blackboard, ask learner come and draw the diagram over the blackboard, ask the student to summarize the content you have taught. So in this way, you can evaluate the learner understanding. So if it is okay, students have, if the desired behavior changes have occurred among learner, then you have accomplished the intended objectives and your teaching is effective. If not, if satisfactory response is not coming from the students, then it will require the changing strategy in the terms of evidences gathered. आपने पूरा पढ़ाने के बाद recapitulate किया, उसके बाद questions पूछे, and still few students or most of the students are not giving desired response. It means you need to change your strategy in terms of the evidence gathered. Now, in next lecture, you will improve in your teaching learning strategy in the light of responses given by the learner. So in this way, the feedback given by students in the terms of responses given by them improves the teaching of the teacher also. So thank you. Now, if you have questions or any clarification you need, I'm ready for that. So you are welcome for any clarification. Anyone?
Madam, one question is there in the chat box.
Yes.
The chat
Repeat
box.
Repeat the question.
In the chat box, the question is there.
You're not. Your question is not clear to me. Explain a bit.
Madam, in the chat box, the question is there.
Anyone repeat what he's saying? I'm not able to understand, Mr. Dixit.
Actually, ma'am, he is saying that how is teaching learning impacted in post of COVID physical classroom? Now
Okay.
we feel more in
Okay, post-COVID. Definitely, in post-COVID classroom, this digital platform will be helping a lot, and it will require a personal touch to our learner because they have gone through a certain trauma, most of the students, most of the learner. So we should be more sympathetic to them. We should have more personal touch because it has made them little imbalanced in some way because some certain concepts were not clear to them during post because the whole teaching learning process was disturbed during the last 2-3 years. So we should give certain extra personal touch in both in planning our teaching as well as in handling our student.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And now, any more questions regarding this?
Yes.
Yes, anyone? Okay, sir. I think, ma'am, there is no any questions. Actually, your teaching is very effective and very good. So there is no questions. Okay, dear participant. Ghazala is here. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, thank you, everyone.
So thank you very much. So now I'm getting your question in chat box. he has written student feel more inattentive because they have lost their interest in a physical classroom. But using these skills, these tactics, we can bring their interest back in the face-to-face classroom, because there's no substitute of face-to-face classroom. Because this example that I have not, there was communication gap between you and me regarding question. This is the physical barrier. And this physical barriers of 2 years have made the students inattentive. Once they're back in physical classroom, and face-to-face interaction will help a lot. And it will definitely make the student attentive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rafiq sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for your wonderful sessions and your knowledge actually you giving us, enlightened us. This is very wonderful sessions. I hope everyone benefit with this session. So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone, for coming this. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, if you want to say something regarding the sessions, then you can express your views.
This platform,
Yeah, in this platform.
definitely. I am connected with Rafiq Saab, and I am connected with Bharat Digital Academy since last 2 years, I think. And it has given a very good platform to new assistant professors and even us also in discussing very meaningful topics and concepts. Each and every time it brings very important themes for these seminars and these lectures. So I wish, I hope and wish that you will continue with such steps, which will be benefiting to both learners as well as we teachers. Thank you. I appreciate you a lot.
And ma'am, you want to say something about any topic, any suggestions regarding this workshop to our participants? They learn more things. Actually,
There should be interaction also in between also. Like at the end, only few students ask question. In between, you should interact. And if you have ideas, then you can also enrich experts also. And you can give ideas that whatever we should bring new in our lecture, what input we should add. So freedom is there and you should avail this freedom.
ma'am, actually, I feel that this problem लोग क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछते, पता नहीं समझ में नहीं आता है या फिर बाद में समझते हैं.
Yeah.
It is very important thing actually. They are teachers, you know. They communicate.
It should be two-way communication.
Yes,
That's why in between I keep on asking whether you are attending, everything is visible to you, I am audible or not. Otherwise लगता है कि हम लैपटॉप को पढ़ा रहे हैं, टीचर्स को नहीं पढ़ा रहे हैं.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So you can also on your video also. You can ask question, interact in between. That will make teaching more interesting. And if one person will ask, then it will motivate another person. Questions will come into the mind of others also.
So, thank you very much, ma'am. Your good suggestions regarding this sessions and our participant will be beneficial for this. Thank you very much, ma'am. See you next time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Rafiq Saab. Thank you, participants.
Thank you.